We're glad to have you join us once again. Now, the acting president of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has asked Nigerian military to use the cyberspace a lot more in the fight against terrorism. He made this known during the graduation ceremony of senior officers of the Nigerian Army Course 39, held at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, in Kaduna State. He also urged the graduates to make maximum use of the 48 weeks of intensive training on the field to enforce a better ideology and mindset amongst Nigerians. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also expressed displeasure over the loud expressions of prejudice and hate in the country, and therefore asked that a line be drawn between freedom of speech and hate speeches to avoid tragic consequences.
Deterring threats and protecting lives and property. The military of the 21st century must realize that it has a role to play in supplying reinforcement to the good side in the clash of ideas that today define the world. Ideas of moderation, tolerance, and sensible versus ideas of extremism, xenophobia, and terror. The battle is not just to defeat the terrorists. The greater battle is to defeat the ideology and mindset that feeds the madness and to cut off its oxygen, money, and publicity. The great challenge and the wonderful opportunity for this generation of the Nigerian elite, of which you and I are a part, is to build a new Nigeria. Out of the rubble of cynicism, of division, and suspicions, we can build a new nation. A new nation built on trust, consensus, and love for one another. And one in which our country is truly united. Our leadership must be courageous. What courage means in times like this is the courage and willingness to be abused and insulted by our own people. The humiliation of being heckled for making concessions is the price of the privilege of leadership.
And now the federal government has started the training of 7,500 community tax liaison officers through the N-Power program to educate citizens on tax system. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun made this known in the FCT Abuja. She stated that there would be no need she stated that there would be need to increase tax awareness in the communities, noting that 7,500 graduates of accounting and law are undergoing training as tax liaison officers at Federal Treasury Academy in Abuja. Kemi Adeosun also noted that the training is in batches, as 27 officers have already started, adding that the training is a continuous process and would help the scheme to thrive.
And relevant disciplines. So we asked the N-Power people to filter and get us a group. They were then interviewed so that we'd have the maiden group. But the website is still open for more people to register. And we wanted to run this course early so that we could look at the training materials, see how well it was received, and that's really what I came to assess here. How much have they learned? How good is our training material? So that when we now widen and try and get the 7,500, we'll be ready and ensure that anything in the material that needs to be corrected can be done so. So really this is almost like a pilot, this group. And I was very impressed with the standards together. So it's going to be a continuous training. This facility can take 200 at a time. So we'll be doing them in batches of 200 once the full program rolls out. Yes. And it's not a full-time job. It's not something they're going to be doing from 9 to 5. This is, remember, going into the community. So some of them will be out on Sunday in churches, some of them will be out in mosques, some of them will be out in the markets. And, you know, they've applied. They want to be here. They're keen. They want to be here. I think it's a decision really for them.
Some of the officers who are undergoing special intensive training said the studies are getting equipped with the responsibilities of increased tax awareness and raise compliance in the communities.
But I've been able to be enlightened that we are supposed to pay our taxes, and then this VATE program is a channel and an avenue for every taxpayer that have evaded tax or have not been paying to make their way, come out and do so honestly.
To take up this information from this training to the populace who are eligible to facilitate their tax. In doing so, the government can now have a lot of revenue being generated from this tax to facilitate other requirements which the masses now expect the government to.
Now, the new initiative seeks to increase the number of taxpayers by 35%, amounting to about 17 to 18 million taxpayers, thereby increasing the nation's revenue, as well as help deal with ignorance on tax matters through massive awareness efforts across Nigeria. Now, there's been a massive deployment of police personnel across Nigeria ahead of the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. A statement from the force headquarters in Abuja disclosed that zonal and state office chief to ensure their operations cover recreation centers, public utilities, and other critical infrastructures. Patrol team will also be deployed on major roads and highways nationwide, as officers have been given strict instructions to be civil, polite, and firm in carrying out their duties. This is coming after the Department of State Services (DSS) uncovered a plot by suspected terrorists to bomb Kano and some northern states during the Salah celebration. Now, the DSS made the announcement on Friday after arresting an explosive expert and the mastermind behind the planned attack, one Bashir Muhammad. To Rivers State, the governor Nyesom Wike has dissolved the State Executive Council. Special Assistant to the Governor on Electronic Media, Mr. Simon Nwakayudu, announced the decision in a short statement on Saturday. According to the statement, the governor directed all former commissioners to hand over to the permanent secretaries in their respective ministries. The announcement comes one day after the Commissioner for Information and Communications, Mr. Austin Tam George, resigned. Mr. George's resignation had followed the decision of Governor Nyesom Wike to sack the Commissioner of Works, Mr. Bethuel Harrison, on Thursday. The Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has stated its plans to intensify efforts to stopping the trade of illicit drugs across the country. The agency believes that proceeds from such illegal transactions have helped to fund terrorist organizations globally, and if more efforts are employed against it, an end can be brought to insurgency. At a news conference in Abuja, Chairman of the NDLEA, Colonel Mohammed Abdallah, retired, said the agency has kept faith with its operational promise of an intensive and extensive policing of the nation's air, sea, and land borders, which has made it difficult for cartels to operate, especially in recent times. He, however, stressed the agency's increased commitment to ensuring that more culprits are brought to book and the country is eventually rid of any form of crime. To INEC, 5 national commissioners of the Independent National Electoral Commission are to supervise the by-elections of the Osun West Senatorial District in the Senate. The Administrative Secretary of the Commission in Osun State, Emmanuel Ademushire, stated this during a stakeholders meeting in Iwo, ahead of the July 8th by-election. Correspondent Abaso Kondeji reports that the Administrative Secretary disclosed that the Commission will adopt simultaneous accreditation and voting system for the election, with the use of newly developed card reader machines. Ademushire said the Commission will ensure strict compliance with the provision of the law before, during, and after the elections. Monitoring, Okechukwu Ndeche tasked stakeholders to work with the Commission to deliver a credible and acceptable election. Representatives of the political parties appreciated the Commission for being transparent and expressed optimism that the election would be credible this time.
To cause crisis or disrupt the election, they should learn from the experiences in other states where a single election you have enough security. The ones in Osun is not sufficient. They are mobilizing security from neighboring states, police, army, civil defense, and for anybody to cause any crisis, it will also meet with the law.
Yeah, the stakeholder meeting is okay. At least we've been able to get more detail of what INEC is up to in terms of their preparation towards this Osun West by-election. And I think we're good to go.
The possible outcome of the election will be very good. Yes, successful. It will be very successful. So the outcome will be very good.
So far, so good. With the level of seminar we have received and the determination of the INEC, we are fully prepared to make this thing free and fair election.
We'll shift our focus to the educational sector, where it's been said that for the educationists not to be expired and kicked out of the business across the country, they must improve in their ways of rendering services to customers at all levels. Now, this became a point of focus at the 2017 National Congress of Association for Formidable Educational Development, AFED, AFED, held in Maryland, Lagos State, where the association intends to play more roles towards the betterment of education. Addressing the gathering, the Director of Education Quality Assurance, Lagos State, Ronke Shoyombo, submitted that the government is not after closure of schools, but to show the school owners how to do it better. She encouraged the private school owners to complement the efforts of government towards achieving qualitative and affordable education. The theme of the Congress is Role of Low-Fee Education Institutions in the Pursuit of 2030 SDG Education Target. Educationists across the country converged to deliberate on the way